So today, we're going to dive into something that's, well, it's huge, and it can be really, really tough. What does it actually mean to love other people unconditionally?
I mean, we've all been there, haven't we? That moment when loving someone, especially somebody who has really hurt you, feels like the hardest thing in the entire world. It's just a fundamental human struggle. The sources we're digging into today offer a very specific and maybe even surprising way to think about this.
So, here's our roadmap. We're going to start by getting a handle on what this unconditional love thing even is. Then we'll look at why it's presented as an actual command. After that, we'll see why it's considered so incredibly important, where the strength to do it is supposed to come from, and finally, some real, practical steps for putting it all into practice.
All right, so let's kick things off with section 1, this whole idea of a love that has no conditions. Because to really get how we're supposed to give this kind of love, we first have to understand the perspective on how it's first received.
Okay, so what are we really talking about when we say unconditional love in this context? It's pretty simple, but also profound. It's a love you don't have to earn. It's not based on your performance or whether you're having a good day or a bad day. The core idea is that it's given to you freely, especially at those moments when you feel like you deserve it the least.
And the biblical evidence for this hinges on this one passage from Romans. Now, the key thing to catch here is the timing. It says God's love was shown while we were still sinners. That's everything. This isn't a reward for getting your act together. It's presented as the absolute starting point, something offered before any change ever happens.
You know, if you want a powerful picture of this, just think about the story of the prodigal son. The father isn't standing there with his arms crossed, tapping his foot, waiting for a perfect apology or some proof that his son has changed. No, the text says he sees his son from a long way off and runs to him. That immediate, no questions asked welcome, that's held up as the ultimate model for this kind of love. Okay, so if step 1 is just receiving this incredible unconditional love, what comes next? Well, it turns out it's not just a nice idea or a suggestion. It's actually a command to reflect that very same love back out into the world. And at the very core of this teaching, you've got this 2-part command. You can almost picture it, right? There's a vertical part, loving God, and then there's the horizontal part, loving your neighbor. And they're presented as completely inseparable.
But here's where the rubber really meets the road. This is the part that makes you go, wait, what? The definition of neighbor gets stretched to its absolute limit to include your enemies. Yeah, this isn't just about being polite to the people you like. It's a radical call to actively show kindness and goodwill to those who have wronged you. That's what makes this idea so revolutionary.
All right, I know what you're thinking. Love your enemies seriously? That sounds impossible. So, why? Why is this considered so important, so non-negotiable? Well, this next section makes the argument that love isn't just one good thing among many, it's actually everything.
This slide really lays it out, side by side, and it's a pretty stark comparison, isn't it? The central idea is that the motivation behind what you do is what gives it any real value. You could do the most incredible charitable acts, but if love isn't the driving force, the source material describes it as being completely empty, like just a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal, just noise. Love is what gives our actions their actual weight and meaning.
And this passage from 1 Corinthians pushes that idea to its absolute extreme. It basically says that even if you give away every single thing you own to help the poor, if you do it without love, I gain nothing. It all comes back to that internal motivation. All right, so if you're feeling a little overwhelmed right now, like, how on earth is anyone supposed to actually do this? You are not alone. That's the million-dollar question, right? How is this even possible for regular, flawed human beings? Well, that's exactly what this next section is all about. And the answer given here is absolutely crucial. The power to love like this, it doesn't come from you. It's not about just gritting your teeth and trying harder and willing yourself to be a better person. Instead, it's presented as a gift, a strength that is received from God through the Holy Spirit. The scriptural basis for this is this idea that God's love has been, and I love this visual, poured out into our hearts. Think about that imagery. It's not some well you have to dig for yourself, hoping to find a little water. It's presented as a reservoir that's already full, one that you can draw from and then channel towards other people. Okay, so we've covered the what, unconditional love. We've talked about the why, it's everything. And we found the how, it's not our own strength. So now let's get super practical. How does this actually look on a Tuesday afternoon? Our final section gives us a concrete guide.
So the source material breaks this down into 5 really clear steps.
Step 1, you ask for that divine help, that strength we just talked about. Step 2, you remember the command to love. You keep it front and center in your mind. Step 3, and wow, this is a tough one, you actively pray for the people who have hurt you. Step 4, you make a conscious choice to forgive and to show kindness, even if you don't feel like it. And finally, step 5, you just act. You let that love start to flow through what you do.
And what happens when people actually do this? What's the point of it all? Well, according to this verse, this specific kind of love becomes the #1 identifier. It's presented as the main way, the primary evidence that lets the world know who a follower of Jesus is.
So if you boil this entire explainer down to one single sentence, this is it. It's a powerful cause and effect relationship. Because God first loves us unconditionally, we are then empowered to love others, not by our own strength, but by faith.
So that leaves us with a final challenge, one that takes this from just being an idea to something real. It's a simple question. Who is one person, maybe someone that just popped into your head right now, that you could choose to show even a small piece of this kind of love to today?